Good morning. Welcome to How Are We Here, my little channel where I can share with you all the neat things I read, watch, or look up on the interwebs. Today, I'm going to talk a little bit about how we are here according to the people of Babylon and the Enuma Elish. So sit back and let me tell you a tale. In my search for old legends of creation, I came across the Babylonian legend found in the Enuma Elish. 7 tablets tell a tale of rival gods and conquest. Copies found date back to 1200 BCE. A case can be made that these were just copies of an older tale. So let's dust off the tablets and find out how the ancient Babylonians of Mesopotamia thought we got here. The tale that begins before creation. Only Aspu and Tiamat existed in the undifferentiated water. Before any destinies could be foretold, the swirling waters would part eventually, and the 2 primordial deities would rise from the chaotic waters. Aspu, god of fresh water, and Tiamat, goddess of the salty bitter water. Once separated from one another, these 2 deities would give rise to the younger gods. Aspu and Tiamat would create Lamu and Lahamu. Next they would create Anshar and Kishar. From Anshar came Anu, and from Anu, Ea. These young gods and more were loud at night. This annoyed Aspu greatly, who went to his vizier, Mumu. Mumu proposed just destroying the young new gods. Tiamat did not want to destroy what they had made, though. Aspu, unable to calm these noisy young gods, decided to go with Mumu's plan. Tiamat warns one of the younger gods, Ea, sometimes called Enki. Ea lulls Aspu to sleep with a spell and kills him. From Aspu's remains, Ea would create his home. Eon dons Aspu's halo, and he changed Mumu to imprison him. Together with his wife Damkina, within Aspu's heart, they create Marduk. Marduk's splendor exceeded Ea and the other gods so much that Ea proclaimed him, my son, my son. Anu then created the 4 winds. Tiamat was angry at the loss of her mate. She was taunted by the other gods. When your consort, Aspu, was slain, you did nothing. Tiamat went to Kingu for counsel on what to do. He advised making war on the other gods. Tiamat summons the forces of chaos to create 11 horrible monsters to destroy the younger gods. She also gives Kingu the tablets of destiny. They legitimize the rule of a god and controls the fates. This makes him her new consort and leader of the war party. Kingu proudly wears the breastplate while making war on the younger gods. When Ea heard of Tiamat's plan, he spoke to his grandfather Anshar. He informed Anshar that many gods had gone over to Tiamat's cause. He told Anshar of the monstrous creatures in the war party. He told Anshar of Kingu, wearing the Tablet of Destinies and wielding the breastplate's power. So Anshar told Ea, go to Tiamat. Go and appease her. Ea was afraid, though. He was weak to face her. When Ea returned to Anshar, Anshar was worried. He was worried no god could resist Tiamat. Finally, Marduk was brought forth as a champion by Anshar. Marduk wanted to know what god he must fight. Anshar told him it wasn't to fight any god, but the goddess Tiamat. Marduk confidently proclaimed he would be victor over Tiamat. He made both Ea and Anshar promise to proclaim him the supreme god, supreme even over Anshar. So Anshar spoke with Gaga, and he advised him to fetch Lamu and Lahamu, inform them of Tiamat's war plans, and Marduk's demand of supreme authority if he were to win. Lamu and Lahamu and the other Agigi, known as heavenly gods, were stressed. Still, though, they drank together. They became drowsy, and they approved the pact with Marduk. Marduk was given a throne. He sat over the other gods, and they honored him. Marduk was given a scepter. He was given vestments, weapons to fight with, such as a bow, quiver, mace, bolts of lightning, all that, and with the four winds. His body was aflame. Utilizing the four winds, Marduk chased the goddess Tiamat. Adding to the four winds, he manifested a whirlwind, a cyclone, and the Imhalu, the evil wind. Together, these seven winds swirled and stirred Tiamat. His war chariot drawn by four great creatures, he advanced. Marduk challenged her. Marduk accused Tiamat of being unfit, that she unrightfully made Kingu her consort, that she was the source of all this trouble. Tiamat became enraged at these accusations. The two gods then engaged in single combat. Using a net gifted from Anu, Marduk entangled Tiamat. Tiamat would try to swallow Marduk, but the evil wind would fill her mouth. Now with the wind swirling within her, Tiamat began to expand and warp. Marduk would shoot an arrow and find his aim true. With an arrow in her heart, Tiamat was slain. The other gods, who had joined Tiamat's cause, they attempted to flee. With the same net he used on Tiamat, Marduk captured them. He destroyed their weapons. Tiamat's 11 monsters were captured and chained up as well. Kingu was imprisoned, the Tablet of Destinies stripped from him. Then, with his mace, Marduk smashed Tiamat's head. Her blood was carried off by the northern wind. Her remains were then split in two, and Marduk used half to make the sky. He made places there for Anu, Enlil, and Ea. Marduk arranged the constellations into the likeness of the gods. He would define the days of the years from those stars. He created the moon, and with that, night and day. He created rain and the clouds that came from them. The rainwater made the rivers Tigris and Euphrates. He gave the Tablet of Destinies to Anu. And finally, statues of the 11 monsters of Tiamat were placed at the gate of Aspu. After speaking with Ea, Marduk would plan to use his own blood to create man, so that man would serve the gods. Ea would instead propose using one of the gods as a sacrifice. The Igigi suggested the sacrifice should be Kingu, so Kingu's blood was used to create man instead. Marduk would then divide the gods, 300 above in heaven, 600 below on earth. The gods, they wanted to build a shrine to Marduk. He deserved a throne on earth, they said. So Marduk had them build Babylon. Spending a year making the blocks, the gods built the Isagila, the temple of Marduk. With its great height, it was truly a place for Marduk, Ea, and Enlil. 50 of the great gods took a seat as the banquet was held. Anu would praise Enlil's bowl. Anu would praise Marduk. The sixth tablet would list the first 9 titles of Marduk. And finally, inscribed upon the 7th tablet of creation, the rest of Marduk's 50 names and titles were listed for all to know. Alright, so that is how the ancient Babylonians thought it all started. I only ever heard the name Tiamat of the Babylonian creation story, and I think that might have been from Dungeons and Dragons. I think she's a god in there too. So this was a lot of fun for me. Such an interesting tale. So, now what was difficult for me here, besides the pronunciation of names, were the facts that the names or relationships were swapped in different variations. I utilized 2 different web pages to understand this story, so hopefully any inversion of character or names can be forgiven. Babylon, being a city in Mesopotamia, has Marduk at the center of its creation story. From what I understand, this is because Babylon had Marduk as their patron god, so he was the one that was most revered. So, there is another Mesopotamian creation myth besides the Enuma Elish that we covered today, and it's from a different city. So next time, we will dive into the Eridu Genesis. But as for this Babylonian creation story, the Enuma Elish, the Tablets of Creation, it was a lot of fun, and I'm glad that we could learn it together. Thanks for watching or listening. please take some time out and do the whole YouTube thing. Like if you liked it, comment your thoughts or questions below, share with your friends, and subscribe. All of that could allow me to defeat the YouTube algorithm and be seen by many more people. If you enjoyed hearing how the ancient Babylonians thought we got here, maybe you'll like hearing about other creation stories. I have a couple other tales on the channel. Please take a view. TLDR, I'm just some guy on the YouTube who did some reading on an interesting topic and shared it the best I could. Thank you all again. Have a great day and take care. Keep safe.